Oh, that right there was an incredible episode of Tales of Zestiria the X. I am just so hyped. Because even as someone who played the game and loved the game, this episode brought a lot of new stuff to the table. It changed things around quite a bit. It was just so damn good. We had our introduction to Edna and Zaveid, two of my favourite characters. Edna, of course, being tied best girl with Lila. And she is just so much fun. They've changed her story, or at least her introduction, around a little bit for the anime. And they've changed Zaveid's a lot, but I think both of those changes really work. Because, I mean, come on, in this one, straight away, you could see how sad and broken Edna is. She's still got a little bit of that snarky attitude. She still came in like a boss, where she flew through the air, crashed into Sorey. And it was just like, how long are you going to hold me? God. It was so great. And then her taking out the ogre single-handedly with her earth magic. Man. Edna. Such a beast. Zaveid got a good intro too. But goddamn, Edna was just fantastic in this one. And it needed to be a fantastic episode for her. I mean, again, things that they changed around. They made the Eizen fight actually be a thing so early. Sorey, even in his Kamui form, not really being able to damage Eizen at all. Smacking him around a little bit, but it was quite clear. Eizen could keep going. Like, Sorey had barely touched him. And Sorey was already fading from his Kamui form, so Jesus. So damn good. Eizen looked like such a beast, even Zaveid was having trouble. It became very clear that Sorey's going to need to do a lot of strength training before he can come back here again. Oh man. And Zaveid. Like, Edna's story was good enough. I also like how they added a lot of flashbacks from Berseria. I mean, I'm guessing those are things that happen in Berseria, where you see Eizen actually leave her a letter and the cute little Norman mascot. I can't remember whether we saw it or not, but I know she also wears his gloves and boots. I'm not sure if we saw him leave them. Probably not if he never comes back from Berseria. He probably got them some other way. But yeah, Zaveid was actually so much better in the anime than he was in the game. In the game, he's such a dick for so long. I mean, he came in, he killed the giant ogre thing, saved them, and was talking down to Sorey. Sorey just kind of rolled with it. And as time went on, like, Zaveid turned out to be a good guy pretty goddamn instantly. I mean, I'll tell you, in the game, I don't consider this spoilers because I'm not going to spoil anything he does in the future. It's just the fact that he keeps coming back as an antagonist. He keeps coming back and fighting with Sorey every time you meet him. And it gets annoying, I'm not going to lie. Even though he's got that awesome music theme and he seems like such an awesome guy, it's one of those things where it's like, dude, just piss off, because he's kind of hard to beat as well. Oh man, so yeah, that was great. And speaking of the music, I mean, we had Zaveid's theme in about 3 different ways in this episode, which were all great. We had, when he came in, like the main theme. Then as things went on, we had a nice little remixed theme when he was battling with Eizen, which sounded cool. And then we had the nice piano version of the theme at the end when he was looking after Edna. So all of that was good. We had Edna come in, we had the Earth Trial music play, so sick. And just so much great music throughout the episode as well that was just completely new. So I really loved all of that. And the animation just strengthened it too. I mean, as usual, Ufotable going in. I haven't really seen any more of the glitches like we got in episode 3 on the giant rock Sorey was running along. Definitely in this episode, like, everything looked gorgeous. I mean, the ruins themselves just looked incredible. They were so well done. The rocks looked real. The grass looked great. And you had, like, the mist coming off the stones. Oh, it just looked so real. It was coming off in, like, little tiny bits at a time. It looked so sick. When there were, like, big rocks around, you couldn't actually see the mist coming off. It was specifically coming off of the grass and floating up to the rocks. Oh, man. I am incredibly impressed with that. And then, of course, the battle with Eizen, which had so many visual effects going into it. I mean, as well as Sorey's fire, because he went with Kamui form, there was also Eizen doing giant fire blasts, Zaveid with his gun. Oh, just incredible looking. Loved that battle, even though it was very short. I mean, it had to be anyway. It had to be made clear. Sorey is nowhere near on the level where he can actually deal with a dragon. Unlike Velvet, who, you know, took out a dragon pretty much single-handedly as her first thing upon leaving the island. So, Just putting that level there of like where Sorey measures up to Velvet at the start of both of their journeys. So that was great, and Meebo's little story was kind of amazing as well, because we had Meebo going off to the water shrine by himself. Well, not the water shrine. That's a bad thing to call it. The place he was told to go to. He got his bow, and that was kind of fantastic. I mean, we saw him using his staff, still unable to take care of Kilma. But then as soon as he grabs that bow and starts using it, that's it. They're getting completely destroyed by his water magic. So it's clearly made him ridiculously stronger. And, you know, they've suggested exactly what's coming. I mean, especially after this episode, we had Edna talk about the ancient rite of becoming a sublord, forming a contract. And so there's that idea that Meebo is going to do it too, and Sorey and Mikleo are going to be back together on equalish terms. Meebo's actually going to be able to help in the fight. He's going to be able to fuse with Sorey. I mean, that was good as well. The ending to this episode, the preview for the next one, where we had Edna talking about her original name, like her proper name. And she gave the whole fake definition for it, which was hilarious. Talking about how she's so beautiful, she stands and walks like a water lily, all of this crap. That was so funny. Sorey just believing it 100% because he's so damn pure. That was just so good. But then we had Meebo, and we don't know his proper name yet. But if he finds his proper name with that bow, with a sublord pact, yeah, we're going to get Sorey and Meebo doing their fusion just like in the opening, which is great because since that is in the opening and it's supposed to be like the final thing in the opening, maybe Meebo's journey back to Sorey will still take a little while, and we'll have that as the big conclusion to this first season. Them two linking up and actually getting back together again. Because it looks like in the next episode they're going to deal with quite a bit. I mean, the next episode was called The Plagued City, or something along those lines. And they showed the Grifflet Bridge, which is completely overrun, flooded with water, so Alisha can't actually get to the Plagued City. So it looks like in the next episode they'll be skipping forward a bit to the point where Sorey will actually come to the bridge and help Alisha, and that's going to be awesome. Because that was one of the first big parts of the game where you could actually make a decision. It doesn't actually change the path, but it was one of those things that you had to think about. I'm interested to see which path they're going to choose for the anime. I mean, I know which one I chose, but obviously I'm not going to talk about that till next week because spoilers. But it's going to be amazing if they chose the one that I did because it was just so powerful, so serious. Such big implications on the world. So yeah, fantasticness. Other things that went down in this episode, like I've got to go more in depth into Zaveid's thing. Because like I said, in the game, he seemed like a dick for so long. Like, you just continuously had him showing up and killing Kilma. He would just destroy them with his gun. So that they didn't get purification, they just disappeared. And he did drop these lines every now and then talking about how some Kilma can't be purified and they're better off dead. But we didn't actually know 100% why he had done that. Whereas in this episode, they just came straight out with it. They made him a much more redeemable character. They made him much more likable. They even had that moment, which you don't find out for a long damn time in the game, where he talks about the promise that he made to Eizen. And you're never 100% told about it, but pretty sure the general idea is that Eizen asked him to look after Edna if he ever disappeared and, you know, take care of him. Don't let him keep being a blight on the world. Kill him if he did become a dragon. So that's something that Zaveid has taken upon himself. He's decided to become that kind of person who has to kill people to purify them, put them out of their misery if they're too far gone. And so yeah, in the anime they've made him a much more interesting and likable character. Sorey's already fine with him. They've already had their little bonding moment. That isn't supposed to come for ages, which makes me think they really are shaking this up quite a bit. I mean, especially with all the links to Zestiria that they've got, with this being Zestiria the Cross rather than just Zestiria, I'm wondering if they really will find a way to cure a dragon and bring Eizen back. That would be a good way to link it to Zestiria, and it would be a good way to get Velvet to like Sorey and not be such a dick if they ever actually do meet. Because, yeah, she probably will be pissed at him for the Abbey uniform, shepherd's cloak thing. But yeah, that would be one way to kind of win her over, to show that he really is a good person. And just so innocent and naive, which they've been showing in this episode so well. And I love that moment. Like, Edna's little snappy moments, they haven't come in full force yet. But I loved it when she was just like, is this kid an idiot? Like, just giving him that look. Asking Lila if he's just actually a dumbass. It was so perfect. Because that's who Sorey is. He's just too innocent. He doesn't think about the bad sides of things. He just rolls with the good and expects everything to work out. And that's so damn cute. So if that's what they're going to do with this, it would be very interesting. It would change up a lot of Zestiria in that way, though. It would change Sorey's growth arc, it would change Zaveid's growth arc, and Edna's growth arc all in one. I mean, we had those hints, foreshadowing of what's coming as well. With Zaveid leaving his final message to Edna, basically saying, if you ever give up on him, just come find me. That was great, so I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with it. If they do just go down the Zestiria route, it would be amazing, super powerful. I mean, I was already feeling really bad for Zaveid in this episode as it was. When he was fighting Eizen and he was screaming his head off at Edna and at Sorey. About how Eizen's forgotten everything. He doesn't remember how we used to battle with each other, how we used to get drunk. Like, he was feeling those memories as he fought Eizen in dragon form. He feels all of that even though he tries to hide it, even though he shows that he has to kill them anyway, that he has to push on and fight. So I love that. I love how they've humanized Eizen so much straight away in this first episode. Probably means he'll get less screen time in this first arc, and that's why they rushed through it, but definitely worked out for the best. And that one little moment of Eizen actually turning away from Edna and refusing to shoot her with fire, just reminding us that he is in there somewhere at least. So yeah, this episode was great. We found out about dragons. I mean, just like animals and humans that get too infected with malevolence turning Kelma, we found out now that dragons used to be spirits, seraphim, maleks, whatever you want to call them, that then got completely corrupted and turned into dragons, which are just like super powerful elemental forces of destruction. So yeah, it was fantastic. The fight was amazing. Everything was on point, from the music, the animation, the characters, all of the little bits of growth, the little hints of foreshadowing of what's to come. Yeah, I just loved this episode. It was almost as good as last week's, and last week for me was just about a perfect example. Oh, there is just one other thing I had to mention, because I only thought about it once I'd done this review, so I'm just going to add this here. It's the fact that Seraphim, they don't actually age, and they don't necessarily physically have to change. So when we see a younger version of Edna being looked after by Eizen and looking even more adorable and young and lolly-like, that's actually really cute, really sweet, but also really sad. It means that the loss of her brother Eizen actually affected her so much that her Seraphim body physically aged forward to show that she'd been through trauma. She wasn't that little girl anymore. She grew a little bit more. I mean, she's technically centuries old anyway, so it doesn't make sense for her to look like a little girl anyway. But she kept that kind of body. She formed that kind of body because she had her brother Eizen originally. And if she looked younger back then, that means that, yeah, that loss of her brother made her emotional state change to the point where she physically changed, which is kind of soul-crushing. So yeah, let me know what you think about that in the comments section. So I'm looking forward to next week. Looking forward to them getting to the Plague Town. I'm wondering if we're going to get the whole party together then, and if we're going to have Meebo show up. Oh, I forgot what should happen while Sorey's walking down the mountain as well. If you've played the game, you know there's going to be a very interesting meeting on the way to the Plague Town between Sorey and someone important. Oh, that should be good as well. We may well get the whole party show up in Marland, but yeah. Looking forward to it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this review, wreck that like button like you mean it. Subscribe if you haven't already to see more, and I will see you guys next time.